We're killing it.
Okay, yeah, this is great. Hello and welcome to another episode of No Highway Option, the one cinema podcast that answers the question that relates to every film. Is it better or worse than Vin Diesel's 2005 masterpiece, The Pacifier? I'm one of your hosts, Connor, and if I were a costume piece, I would be just a slutty dentist outfit.
I'm your other host, Luke, and I'm a pearl diaper.
And we have our guest with us.
I'm Alli, and I'd be the hands on the butt and on the tits. Sorry, I don't know if this is family friendly.
It's not. You're good.
But I'd specifically be any of the hands.
And today we're talking about a movie given to us by our previous guest, Jade. It's Burlesque. When did this come out? 2010? 2013?
I'm not sure.
The 2010 film, directed by Stephen Antin. And it stars Cher and Christina Aguilera.
I was going to guess 8, so I was close.
This is definitely a thing that happened.
This is the first movie that we've watched so far that I've checked the time I had left more than once.
You didn't do that for anything else?
No, I mean, there have been times throughout the rest of them where it was like, oh man, we still got an hour left, and I looked at that point. This one, a lot of times I did it.
I had fun. I kind of liked it.
I like
pretty long.
Christina Aguilera's voice.
This is the second movie that we've covered where Christina Aguilera shows up in it. Except this time she's not a jellyfish in Shark Tale. But it's weird that she's the first repeat, of actors.
It is.
Great. Do we want to get into going through
doing
it?
What I can. Yeah, we can rip right into it.
All right, well, the opening of this goes really fast because it, throws you in with, really bad fake sky in the establishing shot.
The whole fucking town! The fakest Fakeville Midwest town!
It's true. We see Christina Aguilera is working at Dwight's bar, and Dwight sucks because he owes her a lot of money. So she just takes it.
Dwight was he's the first character that we just kind of hear they suck.
He walks in and sucks a little.
He's a lot closer than the fiancé, I'll say that. He's more deserving of the hate.
It's true. Oh boy, we'll get to the fiancé because that was a big surprise.
I don't know, he just seemed like he was in a hurry. That's okay. I mean, he's a business owner.
But that's a good point. He just seemed like he was in a mood or something. I don't know what it was. The
money thing, I guess I can't back you up on the money thing. That's shitty.
Oh yeah, that's very shitty.
But we didn't see any of his books or nothing. We just, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm pulling for Christina most of the time in this film, if we're being honest.
Well, we'll get to it later, but I think she's playing the wrong role in this.
Do you think she should be Cher?
No, I think she and Kristen Bell should switch.
That's fair. It would be more type for sure.
Mm-hmm. But we'll get to Nikki. So Christina Aguilera is sad and excited to move on, so she sings Good Feeling.
I choked. I laughed so hard I choked. It was such a harsh, unprompted transition to, oh, we're singing now.
Yeah, it's it doesn't want to be a musical, but it is, but it doesn't know how to act like one.
I gotta say, they fit in a lot of scenes in this movie that probably don't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I don't know much about movies, but the structure of singing a song and fitting all these montages in the song with shots of her just wailing, it works kind of, but too many scenes.
There are tons of montages in this.
Yeah.
That's kind of what pads up the runtime, because if you go through, story stuff, it goes by really fast, but then it's just montage after montage, like this one, where she moves to Hollywood, And at the beginning of this, I could not tell when this was set. For some reason, like, they were like, oh, Dwight's bar. I'm like, okay, this is set in the 70s. Like, this is just a dirty 70s bar. And then she gets to Hollywood, and there's a huge runway billboard. I'm like, oh, this is now.
Modern day. The whole thing of it being a burlesque show also dates it, I feel like. But I don't know. Maybe is there a call for this?
Burlesque shows are still going on. I saw one when, 2 years ago when I was working at a German beer festival. They were just like, hey, here's burlesque entertainment. And I was there with my dad, and I was like, I don't want to watch this with my dad. This is not good.
Is it just a burlesque club? Are those around that are making enough money to exist?
Well, this one wasn't.
Yeah, that was the most realistic part of the show.
Yeah.
The movie, sorry.
After she moves to Hollywood, there's another montage where she can't get a job. It's just so hard for her to get a job. And then, from across the street of the burlesque club, we see a luxury condos coming soon sign and a tilt up to show the whole thing. I wonder if that's a plot point.
I wonder if architecture law is going to be important.
The architecture law came out of nowhere. I laughed so hard. We are introduced to our first character in the burlesque club, Alan Cumming, for some reason.
Yeah!
Because...
What is he doing?
Because the casting director was like, oh man, he's in Cabaret. Like, this will give us some legitimacy. He should just do his Cabaret thing, which is nothing really this time.
Yeah! When his name popped up and he showed up in the front of the club and he was like, oh, honey, I was like, okay, well, he's gonna be here being the MC the whole time. And he fucking wasn't. Every time he popped up, I had forgotten that he existed.
He did have one number, though.
He did. Oh, we'll get to that. That was my favorite part,
That's the
probably.
Title of the episode.
Yeah, when he comes up and he goes, oh, honey, I should watch your mouth out with Jägermeister. Okay. I want to know more about him, but I can't.
Yeah,
apparently.
you never will.
And, this is a 2-hour movie.
Okay, one point. Maybe this is later. But he was like, the only pole you're going to see is, I think, a waitress is what he's talking about. And there was a pole later. Like, he lied.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, he was, trying to explain that it wasn't a strip club.
Yeah, and then there absolutely was a pole. And she used it. And that's fine. I'm just saying. It was there. And it takes a minute to install.
Just Alan Cumming is a liar.
Burlesque as a thing, I don't know, man. Vaudeville times, there, man. It's huge. It's all over. But, modern vaudeville, I feel like, I don't know. Not modern vaudeville. Modern burlesque, I just feel like it comes down to, it's like a stripping dance, but for people who don't want to strip, which is a weird intersection of two hobbies.
I guess. I think it's...
OnlyFans.
Yeah, kind of. That's going to be the remake of this in 10 years. We're introduced to Cher. Did we get her name? I forget.
Tess.
Tess. She sings a song called Welcome to Burlesque. She kind of just sings it for herself.
I had chills when I heard her voice.
It was good.
Christina Aguilera, of course, has an amazing voice, but Cher. Oh.
And
I just had to point that out.
The way Christina Aguilera was just staring during this entire song, in the back of my head I was like, I know they're not going to do it, but if she's gay, this is going to be a great movie. But she wasn't. But she was so mesmerized, and I understand it is because it's Cher, but I was like, what is
Cher looked hot.
There's a pretty sizable age gap, though. I don't know. I think there would have been, she was into Cher, that would have been problematic.
But they're two consenting adults.
Yeah, but Cher is her boss and much older than her.
It's not like it's Running with Scissors or whatever, where it was 14 and 36. That's bad.
It's also not that's the only problematic thing in this movie.
True, there are more problems.
That didn't age well.
No. We find out that Christina Aguilera is from Iowa, so Jack the bartender calls her Iowa a few times, which that just made me laugh because I just finished watching Smash, and in season 1 they call Catherine McPhee Iowa so much, and these two both came out around the same time.
I did have a lot of like Smash flavored hope for this when we started.
Even with like the way the title looks, like with the old timey marquee letters, like I think that's just what they were trying.
They were trying to do a thing.
This is also when we meet Jack, the surprisingly not gay bartender, and he's here to help Christina Aguilera get a job.
Why are the bartenders dressed that way? They look like little British businessmen, but like turned into strippers.
Because it's burlesque.
That's every time, I swear to God, every time there was like a question, it was like, this makes no sense. That's what they said. They're like, it's the burlesque! And then there was another song where they shoved burlesque in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just how it goes. Burlesque shows are weird. The one that I saw, someone was dressed up pretty much as the same costume as Pinocchio from Shrek the Musical. Complete with like the growing nose thing. And
now
my dad was just like, what's going on with this? And I was like, that's Shrek, father. That is Shrek right there.
Ah, man. I'd like to watch that.
Same.
I'd like to stand a few seats back and watch you and your dad watching a burlesque show.
Well, Kevin and Chris were also there, and we were just handing out beer samples all day. It was a weird day.
That's a genius idea for something. Like, just the spotlight on you guys, pretending you're in an audience, but it's just the two of you, and you're watching. Run with that.
That's an interesting concept. I'm going to have to delete that from the episode in case it makes money.
Oh.
So no one can steal it. We also meet Sean, who's played by Stanley Tucci, who I don't think he was given a script. I think they just went, Stanley, say something catty, and he was like, I can do this in my sleep.
When did The Devil Wears Prada come out?
6 years before this.
Yeah, he's playing the same character for the most part. And I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Let me preface it with I'm all about it, but...
I don't think anyone can do that character but him. So what's going to happen when he dies? That character shouldn't exist.
There will be an international day of mourning, at least, to be...
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I don't want to think
He's
of
not
it.
that old, guys.
Yeah, I know, but everybody dies at some point.
And that character is timeless.
It's true.
They're going to keep making that character.
Oh,
Hopefully with, like, actually gay men. I'm sorry. Side note, I don't know if Stanley Tucci, I don't know his sexual orientation.
I think he has a wife.
I thought so too. He could be bisexual.
That's
However,
true.
there's a whole lot of appropriation of gay men
Mm-hmm.
in there. So, or take back what I said about how no one can replace him. So go on.
There is a very specific vibe of a Stanley Tucci sass character that, like, only Stanley Tucci can do. He made the Percy Jackson sequel, like, watchable.
I didn't see that one.
So Tessa's ex-husband, Vince, is the money guy for the club. And,
What have I seen him in, Connor? Why was he familiar?
dude, I don't know. He kind of just ran in and went like, this guy wants to buy. Just please take the money. Like, that was his entire character.
He's
did
another
have a
character
very,
that's always in a rush.
Yeah. Well, he had that disgruntled Billy Zane end of Titanic look.
Just looking at his face and trying to remember his face, he was probably the lead on, like, a CBS cop show or something.
I thought there was a movie that I'm not thinking of. He looks super familiar.
I'm not sure. And we also meet Kristen Bell with a weird brunette wig as Nikki. She's an alcoholic diva. And according to Christina Aguilera's character is named Alli, but I think for the sake of our guest, we should call her Christina.
There's only one Alli here.
There can be only one.
It's not her.
She opens to Nikki with a joke about her passing for a woman, which, like, that doesn't work nowadays.
Problematic number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, my note was, this is a bad joke. Connor will handle it.
I don't know why you push bad joke onto me, but sure. And while she's there, Alli basically just takes it upon herself to be a waitress because somebody's not helping out, or it's busy, or I don't know why she needs to waitress, but she just does.
She just loves it. She wants to burlesque, and so she just decides that she works there.
It's all that gumption.
Yep.
Every act also, well, not every single one, because like some of them are go a very different sort of sexual way, but like lots of these burlesque acts look like a grade school dance recital.
I'm scared of your grade school.
Not all of them.
I can attest to that. I was in dance when I was a child, and the outfits,
Yeah.
the dances.
Okay, yeah.
At least the filler ones where there were no main characters in them, every time they flashed up, that's the vibes I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, my sister stopped doing dance when I was like 6, and even before that, I went to one dance recital, and then my grandpa was like, "I don't like going to these either, so like I'm gonna babysit Connor every time she has one."
There was one, I don't remember which song they were doing, but the one where they were all wearing the, like, what's Mr. Garrison's boyfriend's name? Mr.
Mr.
Slade.
Slade.
You know the costume he wears with the leather hat and the vest?
The fetish wear, yeah.
Yeah. Well, less fetishy. I don't know. There was one. My brother was in a thing once where they played. The song was "Leader of the Pack," and then he rode out on like one of those little tykes like motorcycles, and the costumes were that at one point.
Okay. Speaking of the performances, we get a performance of Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, which gave me Moulin Rouge vibes, which scared me.
Do you think that this is better or worse than Moulin Rouge?
We'll get to that. It's not. It's worse, but I enjoy it more because I enjoy the campiness of it, and the cinematography isn't actively trying to make me vomit.
I
like
don't
the
know.
costumes.
I think there were so many times. I mean, it got better as it went on, but for the first like 20 or 30 minutes of this movie, the movements of the camera were making me like seasick.
That's me with
How
Moulin
fast
Rouge.
and shaky it was.
While she's waitressing, Christina starts to learn all of the dance moves so she can get up there someday. We get introduced to the money man villain of the movie, Marcus Gerber.
Who's not Piers Morgan.
And surprisingly, not like heir to the Gerber baby food fortune or something. I just read that and put the name together. Like, that would have been a much better twist, but he's a land guy.
Just like a lukewarm villain who's not even all the way a villain.
His motivation is just like build more.
There really were no strong villains in this.
There really aren't any strong characters besides Stanley Tucci.
I mean, that's besides. But that's the thing. Like, I felt like because most of the characters were pretty one-dimensional, that you would have someone who was like a one-dimensional villain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I felt like they were setting him up to be that.
Yeah, exactly. But he was just like, it's just business.
The ex-husband, too. I thought the ex-husband was going to be a whole thing. And then he was just there.
He's
frazzled
great.
a couple of times.
He was less
very
than
nice.
just there. He was just nothing. It's $2 million now, please. $2 million.
Yeah.
We need
Can
it.
I also add that he kind of has like that lead character in a 90s movie vibe? Like,
Yeah.
I could picture him in a
feel
very like big blazer. He had the hair still.
Mm-hmm. He never
I'm-
fully evolved with the rest of us.
Actually.
So, Nikki has a solo that becomes a duet because she came in late, and
Because she sucks.
the two are fighting for attention, and it's really dumb, but I laughed the whole time.
Julianne Hough plays that character, the
Yes.
one opposite, right? And
Her name's
I,
like
The-
Georgia.
Is that the pregnant chick?
yes, I really thought that was Christina Aguilera at first. I was like, what? They couldn't hire another actor?
She's
And
playing
then I-
two characters.
I really thought so. And then they look alike.
They do.
That would have been good. I would have been more into this if it was just like, oh shit, she's putting on another wig.
If it was just like Christina Aguilera's version of Austin Powers.
Yeah.
That also reminds me, because didn't Cher have that show where she played every character?
She did a
Probably.
one-person show of West Side Story.
That's
yes.
it. That's
she played
it.
every character.
That's not real. What?
It is. It's
That is
100% real. I just found out about it recently.
So did I. What if Burlesque was just Christina Aguilera in every role? I'd love it.
I would have been more into it.
It probably would be infinitely more watchable just because it would be a train wreck. Because every character would start all of their lines with the Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, her voice is like
really
nothing
well.
else. And I will say that lots of this movie was really, really terrible. Her voice is out of this world, obviously.
Yeah, that's like a disclaimer we have to put in the beginning. She sing good.
I mean, I know you're approaching this probably, but I knew that moment was going to come, right? Where like she shows off her voice. I didn't know where, and I was expecting something. I mean, it was still cheesy, don't get me wrong, but like something way cheesier and way less realistic.
Right.
And I thought they kind of did that pretty well, because that's a pretty reasonable, like, mean girl thing to do, turn off the sound.
Yeah.
So it worked, I thought.
It is
I'm trying
weird
to be
that
positive.
it is weird that they're like pre-recorded and lip syncing the whole time, but they make a big deal about showing the live band.
Yeah, what the fuck do you even have a band for up to that point?
I guess the band is for interludes and Alan Cummings' performance, because there's no way he was lip syncing to that. There's another montage of Christina Aguilera learning about burlesque, and it's cut short by Nikki singing the best song in the entire movie, one that can only be described as, "My dentist is so tall, I just want to fuck him."
Yeah.
Like, they're all in dentist outfits. There's a big dentist chair that rises and lowers.
This was a time that I checked the time, and I thought that both this movie and this song were gonna just keep going on forever.
I loved it. There's someone on Twitter, Jenny Nicholson, was actually watching this at the same time I was for this podcast. And when the Sexy Dentist song came up, she tweeted, "Cher be like, food $200, rent $800, antique dentist chair which appears in this single Sexy Dentist comedy musical number Kristen Bell puts on once a month, $36,000, costumes $150. Someone who is good at the economy, please help me budget. My burlesque club is dying."
Yeah, I mean, you could see why she was going under.
Yeah.
Some of these purchases.
But there always seemed to be a crowd there. Like, it was never fully empty, so I think it's kind of just on Tess not being good with money.
Yeah, also, like, there's not that many... Everything is like a cabaret table, so there's not that many seats in there. I imagine if you're not full, it's really terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's imaginary, but...
This is the first time we find out Marcus wants to buy the club for $1 million, but Tess says no because she cares about it. Nikki's a drunk, and Tess is trying to stop it. There's just more Stanley Tucci. This is the first time Christina Aguilera is like, hey, maybe instead of lip syncing, we should sing. How about that? And Tess is like, no, that's not burlesque. It's not how it works. Which, it's true. I do think it is a predominantly lip-synced thing from the one that I saw.
I mean, when you're in, like, real life, there is, like, a dancers and a singers, and those can be two separate things. And if you're hiring for an adult dance recital, then you would probably want just the dancers. So, they didn't go that route, though. They didn't go, oh, nobody can sing, we only hire dancers, and then... Christina was like, I want to put on a singing show. And then they were like, let's get some singers and we'll turn this around, which where I thought we were headed. And instead it was just everyone could sing, but Cher was like, no.
Singing's my thing.
Yeah. Is she, okay. So Cher, obviously she's a whole thing. She's very, very good. We know that. I think that every time she sings in this movie, she sounds like she's doing a Shakira impression.
That's just old Cher.
Did it. first.
Yeah, that's just Cher's voice
But
as she
there's
got
a
older.
difference between the Cher voice and the, like, with the, what's the Zootopia song? And, like, the one from the World Cup. You know, there's a difference in that vocal quality.
I think it's just Cher singing modern music, like, sounds like that.
That's possible.
Good call. Good call. Can I say one? Sorry about Cher.
You don't have to ask. You're good.
I'm working on it. Cher's surprisingly a very good actor.
Yeah.
I thought that she would be similar to Christina Aguilera in her acting ability, but she's pretty good.
Yeah. She did more of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had acted before this. This is like Christina
hear you.
Aguilera's first big.
Yeah. A lot of the movies were insane, but, like, she was good in them. You know, the one with the guy with the head thing.
Mamma Mia?
You mean Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again?
No, there's the one with the guy
Mask.
and he's dating the girl who can't see.
Isn't it called Mask? It's like the kid with, like, the huge facial deformity.
Yeah. Cher's in that, isn't she?
I think so. I don't know. I get when it comes to acting stuff, I get Cher and Madonna confused. Just, like, of who's been in what movie. Because one of them's in Dick Tracy, but I think that's Madonna.
I believe you.
Anyway, Christina Aguilera's apartment gets broken into, and she's scared, so she goes to live with Jack, whose fiance is in New York doing a play.
And we hate her.
So the sign on that building said hotel, I think. Regency Hotel?
Oh, yeah.
So
I think because she moved in fast, she moved into this hotel and then was planning to get a place and then didn't end up having to.
Still got broken into.
Yeah, they stole all her toilet money.
I forgot about that.
That's right. She did put a bunch of cash in a Ziploc bag and put it in the toilet tank.
It's one of the first two things she does when she arrives. She goes in, she puts her money in the toilet, and then she gets a postcard that she's purchased of the front of this hotel, circles her room on it, writes presumably a postcard to somebody, and then rips it into a million pieces and throws it out the window.
I guess it's to the coworker at Dwight's bar who was cool.
But not cool enough.
Because I don't know... Because she, in this scene, she's like, my mom died when I was 7, and my dad wasn't around, and I have no siblings, I have nobody. So, like, I guess it's, like, the coworker who was like, I'll take your shift, go to Hollywood.
Or was it her... or was it her mom?
It's like,
that's
fair.
fair.
Possible.
Because you wouldn't really need to mail that postcard.
No. It's like almost like cremating the postcard.
Jack, we find out, is a composer of piano pieces, and he's writing one great song that we're not going to hear until the end of the movie, but, like, it's never quite finished.
I personally don't think it's ever finished.
Christina Aguilera does literally one of those sitcom pratfalls where they fall completely over and get up real quick, like, I'm alright. And I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay. This is kind of the point where I, like, turned everything off, and I was like, this is going to be dumb, and I'm going to enjoy myself.
You mean when she finds out that his name is Jack, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Jack is straight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, why there was so much surrounding of, like, oh, we think Jack is gay, and I don't think they did the legwork to make you question it. Because he was just a guy you met. It's like if she just walked into a bar and met somebody, and then he said, hello, where are you from? And she said, I'm from here. And he said that. And then later, she went to his house, and he was like, oh, my fiance is going to be home later. She's like, what? I thought you were gay because you said you were from Iowa.
She does
The
make a point to talk
eyeliner.
about... Yeah, the eyeliner thing.
Okay.
I
guess.
I also think that's maybe why they cast Alan Cumming. To, like, be like, oh, hey, the only other guy who works, like, in the front that you've seen working here is a famously gay actor. Maybe everyone is.
I think
So
a
what you're
lot
saying
of
is Alan Cumming should have played this part.
I don't know
Yes.
about that one.
I think it would have been more interesting.
It would have, but it would. I don't know. I can't picture Christina Aguilera like falling in love head over heels for Alan Cumming. No offense to Alan Cumming.
There's
I'm gonna
probably
go
also
out-
a weird age gap there.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say a lot of these plot points were discussed once.
Yeah, this
And,
is
like-
a first draft.
Cool.
Was this like? I think that there's also probably this was like a pet project for Christina or Cher.
One
or
of them,
both.
probably.
Because this was a movie built to showcase them.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to Mariah Carey's Glitter.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Oof.
but I have not seen that one.
I haven't
I
either,
just
but I've
know
heard
about
about it.
I've seen bits and pieces and just hoof.
When this first started, I was like, is this the one with the girl from Saved by the Bell and the pool scene? And then, no, that's Showgirls.
Yeah, this is kind of like just like PG-13 dunked with hand sanitizer Showgirls, though.
Why is it PG-13? Not as like a skeevy thing, but as like a why, if you're making this movie,
Do you not
you
make
want
it
to come
R?
at it that way? Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. That's what they say in the first episode of How Did This Get Made? That's like their big point. So I didn't want to step on any toes. But like, it is a good
It's been
point.
a while since I've seen that one.
It is a good point. Like, it's definitely, this is kind of something that, like, if you want to make this a drama about a burlesque club, PG-13 is a weird way to go. I guess it's to reach the broadest audience of Christina Aguilera fans. Anyway, Georgia's pregnant, so they need to do auditions, and Alli auditions and gets it. Wow.
I hated that.
I didn't care. You knew it was going to happen.
I know, but she, like, forced her way on there and then yelled at Cher. Cher said the first smart thing of the movie during that, I thought, also. Because Christina was, like, on stage, like, stomping her feet about, like, why won't you listen to me? And she was like, you don't just get to, like, do that, you know? Like, you want to be there, show me. Show me something that somebody else isn't showing me.
I did think while watching it when she just popped up there and was like, I'd like to audition. And I was like, you didn't submit a resume, you didn't submit a headshot. Like, this doesn't bode well for you.
Maybe I'm just being curmudgeon-y, but...
Alli is apparently short for Alice, so Stanley Tucci is like, well, welcome to Wonderland. Made me laugh. There's a little gag where she shoots a confetti gun all over Tucci. It's funny. Another montage of Christina Aguilera practicing all of her dance moves in public. A little strange. Everyone behind her isn't reacting, but I know I would be like, what's she doing?
I guess we're just supposed to think it's LA.
I just wanted to see one guy duck.
Right.
Or just like stare at her as she's walking like this. That doesn't work with audio, never mind.
I did that earlier too.
Connor did a dance.
I
for
did.
Our listeners.
I moved my arms in like little circular fashions that aren't natural for walking. Tess loans Alli a makeup brush and helps her put on makeup because she never had a mom to teach her how to do makeup. So they're bonding. They care about each other.
Cher can be her mom.
This is around the point where I was like, Christina Aguilera should be playing Nikki. Like, she should be the vindictive, angry villain, quote-unquote, diva, and Kristen Bell should be, like, the sweet innocent who just moved from Iowa. Like, I feel like that fits more for them, respectively.
I agree,
I feel that.
but I have a point on this. I feel like it's nice to give Kristen Bell a different character because I feel like she's always that character.
Mm-hmm.
One, but two,
Yeah.
I know that they were really sticking to tropes here, and like the farm girl from Iowa has to be sweet, which Christina Aguilera did not pull off. I think like they should have just like really bought into the personality where she was a diva and was like I think, you know, like the whole getting what you want thing. I don't think that paired well with like the sweet innocent girl from Iowa. Like just let her be that. Let her be the one who's like, no, I'm gonna come up here and sing, and you're not gonna like it because that's my personality. I'm a little obnoxious, and I think that would have been great.
That's a
I would
good
have liked
point.
her so much
I
more.
feel that. Yeah.
Now that she has the job, Jack is like, hey, Christina Aguilera, maybe move out now because you're living in my house and it's weird. And
Oh, I have thoughts, but go on.
somehow this fight ends with Christina Aguilera stealing his bedroom.
What? Like what?
Yeah.
Just up and being like, look, I'll pay you this much rent. I'm not buying a car, but I'm sleeping in your bedroom and you sleep on the couch. And he's just like, okay.
She's living there for free. He's getting frustrated, reasonably so, because all her shit is all over his. And all he says is, I need you to chip in. And she's like, I'm taking everything over. What?
Taking the closet in the bedroom.
This is my house now, understand?
It's because he wasn't Alan Cumming.
I
Alan
guess
Cumming wouldn't have
so.
stood for that.
It's true, he would have fought back big time.
Would have been very flugly.
Right after this, we find out that Tess can't pay the 2 mortgages. They have to somehow get all the money together to save the theater. And this is when I realized. Last week, Jade almost gave us another movie that has the exact same plot as this movie, in which a group of old performers find out that their theater is run down and is about to be foreclosed upon or bought by a rich businessman until a young out-of-towner comes in with a supreme talent and helps them save the theater. What I just described was The Muppets 2011.
Ah.
Remember how earlier in the week I said I had a groan-worthy take on this, Luke? That was it.
But The Muppets was like a good movie.
Yeah, I know, but they're the same plot.
Sorta.
If you boil it down to
If
those...
you take away the
If you boil it down
the
to those...
brothers.
If you boil it down to the bare minimum, then that's what it is.
For a second, I thought you were describing the Country Bears.
I mean, yeah.
I suppose
Kind
that's the
of.
thing is like so much of this movie is just
Like...
tropes.
Yeah, Save the Theater is a huge trope. Especially in, like, family stuff. Maybe that's why I got PG-13, because there's no such thing as an R-rated Save the Theater movie.
But why not?
I don't know, man.
Good point. Save the Theater is timely.
Oh, yeah, true. Whew.
Sorry.
Save the Theater and you're allowed to say fuck instead of freaking. Ugh. I hate it. This is more of like a personal pet peeve, but like, who are you saving with that? You know, everybody knows at least one that they're always on like, oh man, it's freaking, and I'm always on the freaking. Just say fuck.
It rolls off the tongue better.
The MPAA is a strange bird, and no one knows exactly how they work. Nikki gets replaced by Christina Aguilera, and so Nikki sabotages her by cutting the music, but surprise, Christina Aguilera can sing. And now everybody sings. And the show's all live because it's such a big hit.
Yeah. And then you find out that Cher is writing a new show every day.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what it seems like.
She's definitely ready to retool the show in one day to make it completely based around Christina Aguilera. And we find out that early in the movie, a bunch of the Burlesque girls went out for pizza, but they didn't invite poor Christina Aguilera because she was new. But now she gets invited for pizza and everything's wonderful.
I hate that part. I hate that. That's sending such a bad message. Like,
Yeah.
Prove your worth.
At the same time, I don't think any teenager who doesn't, like, already adore Christina Aguilera is watching this. I think this is all for people who just want to see Cher.
I also don't think any of them were eating pizza.
Oh, definitely not.
Probably one of my favorite things is somehow wigs come up in conversation and completely bald Stanley Tucci deadpans, "I'm wearing a wig right now."
That was a good line.
And
That's a good joke. I liked that joke.
That's what made me think Stanley Tucci didn't have a script.
Mm.
They just went, talk, and he was like, I got this.
They just put him in situations.
Incredible.
So Marcus comes back and is now offering $2 million, and Tess says no, which is making Vince all scared and squirrely. And Marcus decides to drive Christina Aguilera home, but first stopping at his own party to make an appearance.
His own party at his house, which he shares with BoJack Horseman.
It is very much the BoJack Horseman house.
Wow,
yeah.
It really is.
Which is heightened by the fact that in the next scene, or a couple of scenes later, they put Christina Aguilera in the Sarah Lynn dress.
Oh, the hand
The
one?
The one with the hands, yeah.
I didn't connect
That's
that.
the costume I tried to reference, and
That's...
I fucked up. Sorry.
No, you're
good. This is when
leotard.
This is when we're introduced to the very incredibly important and not just thrown away plot point of air rights. The rights to the air above buildings. Marcus owns a bunch of them so he can have a nice view of the city. And they are a thing. They are a real thing. Literally, my note says, "Is this a thing?" Oh, it is. That's weird.
That kind of felt
really
like
is.
he's not a bad guy here in that story. Unless I misheard that story.
I think the only bad guy is supposed to really be Nikki, and even she just can't be effective. It's weird. We find out that Stanley Tucci's nickname for Christina Aguilera is Alley Cat, and for Nikki it's just Slut.
Ooh, got him!
That one was rough.
Marcus gets Alli the gift of kind of ugly looking shoes. I didn't like the shoes. So Jack
Very
is
2000s, though.
true. And so Jack is very jealous because he's falling in love, even though he has his invisible fiancé. Right after this, we get Tess getting the final notice of her overdue payments for the mortgage. And intercut with this is Alan Cummings' burlesque number, where it's two women are just doing dances around him, and then he stops in a compromising position, looks at the audience, and just says something. It's like, "I caramba, guten tag," and then at one point he stops like inches from an ass and just goes, "Hello." It's weird. No one knows what it's there for. They just went, "We need Alan to do something," I guess.
Okay,
It's two ladies.
I don't know much about burlesque vaudeville, but what it seemed to me was like that kind of number was the closest to the comedy in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the closest to like a old vaudeville burlesque thing.
It was. It felt like it didn't belong in this movie.
Exactly. No. Yeah.
Just like Alan Cumming.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I hope he got paid well for this. Christina Aguilera is introduced by an agent, by Marcus. Uh-oh. That's not good. And so Cher sings a big, sad song that won her the Golden Globe. It's a good song.
So, I have a question about the producer, or the agent. Didn't he say he worked with Etta James?
Yeah.
Does that timeline match up?
Probably not.
He didn't look that old.
Yeah.
Maybe he worked with...
Definitely doesn't.
Maybe he worked with Etta James at a later point in her life?
He was older than most of the characters. So I think they were trying to push it that way. But still, like... That's many years.
Yeah, it's weird. Nikki gets in a fight.
They should have said it in the 70s.
This might have worked better if they said it in the 70s. And, like,
Agreed.
They can just set it in the 70s because no one uses a cell phone ever.
They once. I saw it once
Okay.
because I was confused.
Nikki and Tess get in an argument because Nikki is drunk and continually putting Christina Aguilera in. And apparently they built the club together, according to
Interesting
Nikki.
information.
Kind of just
It's
thrown
the only
out
time
there.
you'll hear about it.
Two of my favorite lines in this argument are Nikki screams, "I will not be upstaged by some slut with mutant lungs." And Tess responds with, "I have bigger things to worry about than you pouring tequila on your Cheerios."
I did like that.
Those are just two great lines, and the rest of the movie is just like, yeah.
I think Cher and Stanley Tucci had the best lines.
They did.
And that's the scene with the tire iron, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Drunk Nikki quits and gets in her car and threatens to drive away, and Tess uses a tire iron to like smash her window.
Very good.
Nikki says that she
Very
slept
good
with
scene.
Vince after their honeymoon, which we find out at the end, no, she didn't. She was just angry. I thought this was setting up Nikki to die.
Yeah!
Because she was drunk driving after an argument, but, like, she's fine.
Yeah, I thought she was going to drive like a comically fast car crash. Like, right out of the gate.
Yeah, I thought she was
Okay.
gonna leave the parking lot and immediately get T-boned by a bus or something.
I didn't think that. Unless it was like a Mean Girls type of thing. You know, where she
True.
gets hit by the bus. But I did think that drunk Nikki was going to make a bigger splash later.
Hmm.
And
Like,
she
my
just
revenge. I know.
We go to George's wedding. Jack is drunk. There's a DJ who's looking at either Stanley Tucci or some other girl. Stanley Tucci says something about him being cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, which, like...
Felt racist.
didn't. You sure?
Jack and Natalie, his fiancée, have broken up, so now Jack and Christina Aguilera are doing, like, will they, won't they stuff. Jack has just a whole thing about putting a box of Famous Amos cookies over his crotch.
Yeah, but, like, not in front of his famous anus. In front of his balls.
All
Thanks.
right.
I'll be here all week.
All right. No, yeah, but we do see Jack's full ass.
I was not expecting that. I really didn't think they'd show that.
I was not either.
This was another funny PG-13 moment, because he comes out and he dances around naked with the cookies, but if he's going to put the cookies down, he's got to go back and get his underwear, because this movie's not rated R. So he comes back out with his underwear on to fuck Christina Aguilera.
And they do,
Innocent.
but it's a PG-13 describe it with a song fuck.
Mm.
Where they, like, start to fall in bed, a song plays, and it's the next morning. The next
With
morning...
no come what may from Moulin Rouge.
Okay. The next morning, we find out that Jack won a Nashville teen songwriting contest, and that's why he's in LA, because he's like, I should have done something with that. And then Natalie, Jack's fiance, comes in, and it's Diana Agron from Glee. It's
Yes,
Quinn.
okay, so it was.
Yeah. She's playing a high schooler at the same time she's engaged to this full-blown man in this movie.
Yeah. So I guess, like, that's where we remember, oh shit, they were so much older than they were supposed to be there.
Yeah, it was just a weird, like, her showing up, I was very just taken aback, like, that's not who I expected. She's understandably mad that an engagement was ended quickly and drunkenly over the phone. And then there's another girl who's been living there.
Yeah. They play this out like we are supposed to be on Jack's side. And it's the whole movie. It's every single character is on board with this hit job. Stanley Tucci is probably the worst at it. Just constantly like, you're going to miss your shot if you don't break up with your fiance, asshole. And then we don't even meet her. Like, we don't know anything about this woman. She's engaged. She's left to go do a job in New York that got extended for a couple of months. And then she comes back and this is happening.
Yeah.
Well, so I thought it was interesting that apparently she did know that Christina was living there, because one of her comments was like, "You said it was nothing." So at least
Oh yeah, true.
there was some communication on that level. But then again, my bar is really low for men. No offense.
Christina Aguilera leaves with Marcus, which makes Jack sad, and they visit Stanley Tucci's house where he's with the wedding DJ from George's wedding, and they don't know each other's names, but Christina Aguilera's like, maybe you guys should fall in love or something. He's like, okay.
It was the best relationship in the movie.
Yeah.
It was the most fun I had with a relationship.
And we find out at Marcus's house that, oh no, he's planning on building another skyscraper over top of the club. What a shock. But thankfully, Christina Aguilera pays attention when guys talk at parties, and she realizes, hey, we can sell the air rights to above the theater to the skyscraper across the street. And the guy in charge of that is played by James Brolin, which is just weird. Weird cameo.
More tropes, just like the businessman on the phone deal.
Another place that they just storm right in.
But for this to be like the one big overarching problem throughout the entire movie, it gets solved in half a second.
It had to. They were down to the wire.
I just felt like there would be a kind of a bigger finale, and instead it's just like, so, air rights. People are going to be looking at windows, and he's like, oh shit, you're right. Here's like however much.
I was not
It
expecting
really was
that.
like we were running out of time left in it. Because it got to a certain point in this movie, and it was like, all right, well, there's no villains, and everything is kind of resolved, and Christina works at the club, and now her and Jack are together, and like, what are we doing here? Where is this going?
Nowhere. Nikki comes
nowhere
back.
Was the answer.
She never slept with Vince. She's rehired. Jack and Christina Aguilera are together. They sing a fun final song, and that's it.
Is it a fun final song?
I don't remember it.
Mad.
I don't remember it, but I wrote it was fun.
So this whole movie, Jack is working on this song. We are first introduced to him. He plays 6 notes on the piano. Christina Aguilera's like, "Oh my god!" And then he's just working. He's really working hard at this the whole time. This is his masterpiece. And then the song is like, oh man, did I write it down? It's like, it's another one with Burlesque in the title. It's another one it's like, what's up at the Burlesque? And that is his masterpiece.
It's like Rent, where the entire show Roger's like, I'm writing one great song, and then one song Glory happens, and you're like, oh.
Except one song Glory was good.
But it's still underwhelming.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it was very one-dimensional of him. It's like, you'd think he'd write his masterpiece be a song that's different from his job.
It's all he knows.
It felt like a song that would happen as a cutscene at the end of a PS2 video game in like 2005.
Mm. Take your word for it.
That's how it ends, and that was Burlesque. And now we move on to our criteria, where we compare it and see if it's better or worse than The Pacifier. First off, how's the soundtrack?
I mean, solid. That's the point,
I liked
right?
it.
I was disappointed. There are like strong contenders. Cher does some really cool stuff. Christina Aguilera does some cool stuff. But like overall, I thought that it was underwhelming, and I thought there were weird, jarring cuts. I had a lot of the same issues with the music in this movie that I had with Greatest Showman, in that there were times where the style of music just jarringly did not fit. Like the scene where they left the club, and Christina is in the car with Bad Money Bojack guy, and they turn
and
on
it's
the
neon
radio.
trees. It's
Neon
Animal.
trees.
And it's fucking out of nowhere.
It set it firmly in 2010, and that's what made me love the soundtrack, because I love that song.
Oh my god.
I do too. I got really excited. I was hoping
It's
it
a
would
good song. I just, like, my jaw dropped about it.
I also just haven't heard that song in ages, so, like...
Same. It didn't fit, you're right.
It didn't, but, like, I was happy to see it.
I just hated it. You guys are allowed to not hate it.
Next up, where does the main actor land on the Dieselometer scale of performance, charisma? Christina Aguilera didn't do well as an actress.
Terrible.
I can't think of a Vin Diesel performance I didn't like as much as this.
Well,
Luke's usually good at this part.
I thought it was funny that when Jade last episode, I don't know whether she was talking about that movie or when she was bringing up this one, she talked about how Vin Diesel got started, and like I'll rehash it short because new people might be listening and Alli's here and stuff, but Vin Diesel and I don't know whether it was his brother or his cousin were like in this theater and they were like vandalizing it. They were like in there. They were there to stir up shit. And the guy that found him, who was in charge of that theater, put them in the show that was going on then. To be like, let me steer them a different way and give them another shot. And that's how Vin Diesel got started. So I think this firmly sits there because it's exactly the way that Christina behaves. And it works. Like, she just shows up and is doing all the wrong shit and is just deciding to be places. And everyone's like, yeah, let's give it to her. And then she wins. She wins theater. So that's where this
Congratulations, Miss Aguilera. You won theater. All right. I can see where you're going with that one. Next up, did I like it as a kid, or would I have liked it as a kid? My brain completely disconnected there. For me, it would have seemed too grown up, so I probably wouldn't have dug it.
Oh, I would have loved it. I would have. Oh, that'd be my dream as a kid. I always wanted to be an actor. You see how that worked out.
So, like, I don't know if I would have been, like, full on into the movie, but there was definitely a space of time where, like, I was a child, and I was, like, turning into not a child anymore.
It's called being a teenager.
And I was, like, yeah, and I was, like, exploring different things on the TV, and there was a space of time where I for sure used to think that, like, music videos had different rules about what could be on TV, if you catch my drift. So, like... I think that there is definitely a chance that while I may not have been into the movie, there would have been some things that very much caught my attention as a young boy.
That is the grossest way you could have said it. Trying
Yeah,
not to be gross.
I would agree. What is this podcast rated?
There's a parental. You can either put it as clean or explicit, and we usually put it explicit.
Okay. So your dick would have liked it.
I wasn't going to say it that way. I was trying to dance around it.
Well, as Connor said, that made it way worse.
Just answer your question, sir. Would your dick have liked it?
I suppose.
Next up, what has the director gone on to do? This is Stephen Anton. This is the only movie he's directed, but he was an actor before this. He was Troy in The Goonies, one of the jock villains. And he was the titular Jesse in the Jesse's Girl music video.
Oh.
Neat trivia, I think.
That's cool.
Was there anything as memorable as the Peter Panda dance for either of you?
Maybe the tire iron smashing the window of the car.
Okay. That's all right. I put Nikki's "My Dentist Is So Tall, So I Just Gotta Fuck Him" song.
Good one. I would agree with you.
Who is the Brad Garrett / Carol Kane, just weird side character who is always entertaining to see? For me, it was a tie between Stanley Tucci and Alan Cumming. but like I think Alan Cumming gets the edge for his musical number.
Alan Cumming, for sure.
Yeah, I thought about Stanley Tucci, but I think that he crossed over that edge into like main character more for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with Alan Cumming. Maybe a little of Marcus, mostly Alan Cumming.
I was kind of considering before the movie ended and he didn't really do anything else besides the one scene. We get a little bit of trying to make Dave the sound guy a thing. But then Dave the sound guy doesn't show up for the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
And last but not least, is there anything as batshit insane as the Sound of Music subplot from The Pacifier? Which, in case you don't remember, in the film, they discover that Seth, the boy that Vin Diesel is nannying, basically, has bleached his hair and has a Nazi armband. So everyone in the school believes that he is a Nazi. Vin Diesel follows him, meets up with two other boys who seem to be Nazis, and we find out he's just playing Rolf in a community theater production of The Sound of Music. It's one scene, it's insane, and I love it. I just put air rights being a plot point.
Yep.
Is insane.
I also had air rights.
Who cares about air rights?
What the fuck? This whole movie was solved with a weird business lesson.
I have nothing stronger than that to add, so.
And last but not least, how would you rank this film?
What out of what again? Apologies.
Just out of whatever. It's usually just bullshit.
I give it a pearl diaper and a half a bowler hat, and it's not better than The Pacifier.
I give it 3 canes.
I give it 4 Christina Aguilera riffs out of 10. It's not as good. But
Certainly not.
I got close to enjoying it on the same level. Like,
Same.
very close. That is our discussion on Burlesque, and now our guest Alli is going to give us clues for next week's movie. It's the Coming Attractions game.
Okay, so this is going to be an obscure one fact, so I'll get other ones closer, but the reason I want to pick this is because Burlesque dialogue, I hated. Okay, I gotta say that. I hated it. And there's a movie whose screenwriting dialogue I absolutely love. I'm obsessed with. And I almost had a heart attack when I found out the screenwriter for this movie, it revised the script of Burlesque. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Really?
Yeah. I was so upset. I like was legitimately upset. But I found out more about her career and like she kind of had to make it work.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
No way, really?
Oh.
I just skimmed down on the Wikipedia page to see if I could see it, but I do remember reading this factoid, and yeah.
Okay, do I need more hints then?
Well, I mean, is it... She's done more than one movie, but is it like the movie she's big for?
I believe so.
Can I have a hint?
Yeah. I gotta try it.
Is there, does this film involve a hamburger phone?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Is this Juno?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, I love Juno.
I do too. It's literally my favorite movie. So you better do it justice.
All right, well, tune in.
I met Michael Cera. Sorry.
I mean, that's awesome. Tune in next week for Juno with our guest.
Alli, do you have anything you want to like?
Oh yeah, do you
plug?
want to plug anything or?
Oh, I am a graphic designer, and I do really boring design stuff right now for like restaurants and some app design for my internship. It's actually pretty cool, but I'd love to do design for music if anyone needs that. So if you're a musician and you need design work, hit me up. My website is that okay to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My website is
We'll drop your website and stuff.
Yeah, AKSEVAREID, my complicated last name, .com. So yeah. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you for being on. This was a lot of fun.
It was really fun. Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
And we'll see you next week for Juno. And for a No Highway option, I've been Connor.
And I've been Luke.
I'm Alli.
And as always, these have been our opinions. And if you didn't like them, that's too bad because it's our way. No highway option.
I wasn't listening to my name, was I?
No, you can't.
Judging by your reaction.
The rules are fuzzy.
It's never really been